Hello there. We're going to just a quick thing today. We're going to look at animation curves as an alternative to lerping. Um, for this little quick demonstration, we're going to be using a little sprite I've made, and we're going to make a little animating background. Now, the whole point of this isn't nothing to do with the GUI. It's nothing to do with the sprites. It's just me animating in this case, a float value. But you can use this for anything you like. So basically what we're going to try and do is this little line here, this is going to be like a little menu background window. So we're going to start the animation like closed like this, and then over time it's going to open out like that up to 300. So it's going to open up into like a square. Okay. Now previously I've seen a lot of people, and I've done it myself, we just used the mathf classes and lerp. You can lerp floats and anything you want, basically, colours. But this is an alternative to that and gives you a little bit more control. So I've got a little script on here called menu background. Let's have a look. So there's nothing in it at the moment. So what we're going to do, we're going to just create a quick animation curve. I'm going to call this open out, if I could spell, curve. And now I'm going to hop back to Unity, and we're just going to see what we get in the inspector here when it finally compiles. So if we click on this here, you get the little curve window pop up, and there's some preset curves here. Or you can add your own keys and then save them as new presets. I'm just going to go for this curve at the moment. So when this animates, it's going to animate slowly at the start and then increase its speed, and then it's going to nicely smooth off at the top. So we have that. Now this is a similar type of thing to lerp, as in when you lerp using the mathf set of functions, you're basically passing in time, and it lerps the value based on time. And this is no different really. I'm trying to type as I'm speaking, which I'm not very good at multitasking here. So I'm just going to create a few variables here, which I shall quickly discuss. Okay, so this is our curve as we saw earlier. This is just a handle to my sprite, so I can actually change this dimension value. This is just going to store the maximum value. In this case, I want it to open up to 300, so that's just going to store that number. And this is just a multiplier so we can change the speed of the animation. Because basically what this does is this travels a time of 0 to 1. So we might want it to take twice as long, so therefore we'll multiply this value by half, by 0.5. And excuse me. And this dimension there, we're going to multiply this by, let's open up the curve again, the actual evaluation of the curve. So then for when the animation gets to the end of its travel, 1 times 300 will be 300. So it's basically going to go from 0 to 300. So what I'm going to do, I tend to never put anything in the update function if I can help it. In fact, I made a whole game of only one update function, just because nothing really needs to be done every single frame, I find. Well, obviously some things do need to be done, but the vast majority of things don't happen constantly. So I'm just making a couple more variables here. So this is just basically going to store the time, and this is going to store the actual evaluation, what comes back from the curve at this given time. So when the animation starts, I'm going to initialize these. So I could just stick this to 0, but our curve might not necessarily start at 0. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to evaluate the curve at a time of 0. Like that. And then I'm just going to put a little while loop in here while the curve amount is less than 1. Excuse me. Or you could put the time in here, it doesn't really matter. Time's probably a better one actually. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to increase the time, and I'm going to multiply that by that speed multiplier we said, just so I can slow it down or speed it up. And then the curve amount which comes back is just going to be this again. So when the time is say 0.5, that's going to be fed into there, and then that'll evaluate the curve at the time of 0.5 and return the amount into there. And what I'm going to do then, I'm just going to grab my background dimensions, I believe it was called. Dimensions, and I'm just going to hard code this width for now, 300. And the height is going to be my max dimension multiplied by whatever comes back from the curve at a certain time. And then obviously I need a yield here, just to wait to the next frame. Okay. Now this is obviously going to be called probably from another script at some point. So I'm just going to create a public sort of API variable just so I could access it. Like that. And at the moment we haven't got anything calling this, so I'm just going to bosh this into a quick start method. If I didn't have complete sausage fingers there, look. And I'm just going to call open out. So let's just save that and hop over. We'll just wait for that to compile. Okay. So the max dimension is 300, and I'm just going to put 1 in for now. I need to drag in the menu background, and then we can see it opening out there. So we can slow this down to 0.5. And then the beauty of this animation curve, instead of excuse me, instead of doing just like a lerp between two values, is that you can actually just change this to whatever you want. Something a bit more dramatic, like that. So you've got a bit more dramatic now. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this little quick, it's not really been a tutorial as such. I'm just saying this is just a way of using, instead of using your standard going from A to B, lerping a value, you can just use an animation curve to do the same thing. It just makes it a bit more visual, and it gives you a bit more control. So I'll see you for the next tutorial. Bye for now.